Hey everyone, in this video I want to show you how to run Temoa. As always, I'm going to start by showing the set of options and commands that I have available to me. In a previous video I used the tutorial command, and as you might remember, it auto-populated this Temoa file, which is going to specify the model input configuration and then the database file. And I can use this as a test to run the model. So if I want to run Temoa, I'm going to do python -m Temoa run, and then I need to point it to this config file. So I'm going to tell it which configuration file, and I'm going to hit enter. Before the model run actually gets executed, you can see there's a summary of the various features that have been specified in the Temoa file for this particular run. Again, you can see the name of the scenario is Zulu. We're running this as Perfect Foresight. It's confirming which configuration file we're using, the input database that we're using, where the outputs are going to go, what directory, and then a list of the various features that we have activated. Note that we're using the Highs solver to complete the model run. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm these choices, and you can see the model has completed its run, and my outputs are now in this directory, which has a date and timestamp. So let me go to that directory. You can see I am in the Temoa directory. I now have this new folder called output files. So I'm going to go in there, and you can see this is the folder associated with the run that we just completed. You can see that there's a bunch of outputs here that I want to take a look at. I'll start here with the log file. I'm going to just open that up, and you can see this is giving me all sorts of information about the model run. You can see here, for example, that it's performing checks on the units that are specified within the database. Those are all passing. It's also doing checks on the database itself to ensure that the graph network, essentially the network of technology and commodities all linked together, are specified correctly and that there aren't any kind of orphans. You can see here that we're actually missing some data in time slices. So this is useful information. I might want to go back and specify the values, in this case, for the demand-specific distribution, which appears to be missing. Okay, so there's a lot of really useful information in the log file. You can see that there's also an output file. This is one of the options that I specified in the Temoa file. And if I go through here, it's broken down by sector. And you can see there are a series of worksheets that give the optimal installed capacity results, and then another series of worksheets that give me the activity or the production associated with the same technologies throughout the network. So again, if you want to get a quick look at what the results are, looking at the Excel file is an easy way to do that. If I go into the unit checks report, you can see you'll get more detail on the units here, and it looks like in this case all of the unit checks have passed. And then finally, we have a visualization of the network graph. You can see there are a bunch of features. Again, because this is a very simple system representation, I don't necessarily need all these features, but as you build larger and larger networks, these features become very important. So for example, I can toggle different sectors on and off. I can apply more advanced controls. So in this case, you can see that the font size is quite small, so I can ramp that up and make sure that it's larger. I'm going to go ahead and hide this. In this particular representation, the energy commodities are nodes and the technologies are edges. And if I want, I can switch that around by clicking this button. And now the technologies are the nodes and the commodities are the edges. You can see that I can mouse over an edge or a node and get more information about what I'm looking at. So this ability to visualize a network is extremely helpful as you're both building a database and also to do troubleshooting and make sure that things are linked up correctly. Okay, and then the final thing I want to show is just the database itself. So if I go to the Browse Data tab, now what I want to do, again, there's a lot of input tables here, but I want to focus on the output tables. So tables are now populated with output data. So here's an example of the built capacity. We have This table is specified by scenario, by region, sector, the technology, the vintage of that technology, the installed capacity, and then the units associated with that capacity. Again, you can see that there are a number of different output tables here in the database. You can browse the data by using a GUI like DB Browser for SQLite, or you can also query this. So you could write a Python script to query the database and return the results in whatever form you like. Hopefully this helps you understand how to execute a Temoa model run and also to look at some of the key outputs.